Good evening. I'm Belva Davis. Belva Davis. Belva Davis. I'm Belva Davis. Belva Davis. Belva Davis. News Center 4.
Belva Davis was the first female African-American broadcast journalist west of the Mississippi. She's been reporting for more than 50 years, locally, nationally, and globally.
I, long ago adopted this little quote that I use all the time only because it's relevant 50 years later, and that is, don't be afraid of that space between your dreams and your reality, that if you can dream it, you can make it so. And that was what I wrote to myself after I made the vow that I was going to get into this business.
Belva was trained literally on the job, whether it was her writing, which is where she got started initially, or whether it was in front of the camera. At all times, Belva was doing it from the heart.
Throughout her long career, Belva has reported some of the most explosive stories during our city's most difficult moments, including the assassinations of Mayor George Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk.
Both were shot this morning, and tonight, ex-Supervisor Dan White is being held at the Hall of Justice on 2 counts of murder.
As a reporter, as a woman, and as an African American, Belva never backed away from stories that needed to be told.
She was a person who understood her community and related to that community. That's what made her different. She knew her community. She put herself into that community and made that community come to grips with some of the things that it needed to do.
Belva was single-handedly responsible for raising a lot of the money that closed the gap in the end and that put Moab on the map.
This is really a moment of realizing a dream that many times people told us was not possible.
Moab means Museum of the African Diaspora, and the mission here is to display the art, culture, history of people who have been dispersed throughout the African diaspora. I would say Belva was definitely the anchor that got the museum going, and she just literally took over the project, operating at one point as the project manager, also the president of the board. Right before we opened, she also functioned as the executive director. So she definitely had her hands all over the project. She was the cheerleader for Moab, out in the community with all of her contacts, locally, regionally, as well as nationally.
Belva has 30, 40 years been doing as much pro bono as she did in her own profession.
Belva's impact reaches beyond the Bay Area. She continues to use her talent and courage to forge ahead for all journalists. Belva Davis is a living legend.
Belva forged her own path in the field of journalism, changing the face of television news forever.
You don't last 35, 40, or 50 years in television anywhere. The reason Belva has lasted so long is because Belva has not changed one iota since day one. She's just as fresh, just as entertaining, and just as engaging.
Joining me tonight on our news panel are...
I can't say enough about one's own personal responsibility for trying to move your life and your dreams and your goals forward. And it's not easy, and there are going to be times when you think, I just can't do this anymore. But you have to go back and dig for that center core and say to yourself, there can be another way. There can be another way. I just have to have the will to find it. Never give up, never give up, never give up.